is a CBS News special. 1975.
It has not been a year dominated by a single issue, as 1974 was by Watergate. Rather, it's been a year of painful transition, politically, economically, socially, and internationally. 1975 has been a year in which there were more problems than solutions, more questions than answers. It has also been a year of unusual variety, in the sense of the ancient Chinese curse, "May you be doomed to live in interesting times." Whatever else it was, 1975 was certainly interesting.
Sunday afternoon, it's NBC's Grandstand. Sunday afternoon on NBC, #1 in live sports coverage all year round.
There are signs that the era of exaggerated sums is coming to an end. The proliferation of sporting events has gone about as far as it can go. In the fall, the World Football League went bust to the tune of $30 million. More and more teams in every sport are losing money and trying to deal off their high-salaried players.
Stengel was an entertainer. He loved a crowd, and the crowd loved him. They loved him when he was a big winner. With the Yankees, 10 pennants, 7 World Series, an unequaled record for a manager. And they loved him when he was a big loser with the Mets. Who was the best manager he ever saw? I was the best manager I saw, said Stengel. I tell that to people to shut them up quickly, and also because I believe it. He was a character who gave up dentistry for baseball. I was a left-handed dentist who made people cry, he explained, but my mother loved my work. His fractured conversational English was to the listener what the screwball is to the hitter. Impossible to fathom. Stengelese, it was called.
I want to thank everybody that did something for me and the tremendous fans, that I never was hurt where I was laid up too long, that thought so much and went over to New York City and turned for the New York Mets in our organization. In the last 2 years, we turned to the public, and we appreciate every girls group, every boys group, and every poem, and every song, and also the attendance, and keep going to see the Mets.
One of Stengel's former players, Phil Rizzuto, said today, I never thought death would ever get Casey Stengel. I thought he'd talk him out of it.
It's sports broadcasting at its best. NFL football and NBC's Grandstand. Television's most talked about new concept in sports coverage. News, scores, features, events, you name it, Grandstand's got it. NBC Sports, #1 in major sports events all year round.
A football, baseball doubleheader, 1 o'clock. It'll be Denver against Buffalo and the amazing O.J. Simpson. New England against the Jets. Jim Plunkett may play. Pittsburgh against Cleveland. Joe Green will be mad. And Cincinnati versus Houston. They've each opened the season 2 wins and no losses. At 2 o'clock, Miami, Green Bay, followed by either the Oakland A's against the Red Sox or Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. Consult the listings in your paper for the baseball game to be carried at 4 o'clock in your area.
Slot right formation. Bradshaw, rolling right, firing, open man, there it is. Touchdown to Johnny Stallworth. The Steelers are on the board. Stallworth running almost laterally to the goal line, coming into the end zone toward the near side, slanting out to the sideline. Wide open. Tony Peters was beat on the play. He was embarrassed. And the Steelers have gone in for the TD. wide. Gillum has not completed the pass in 2 tries. He's deep now. Now firing the ball. After the far side, Swan at the 20, over the 15, the 10, the 5. Swan is galloping for the end zone. A touchdown. What a brilliant move by Swan.
o'clock for Grandstand here on NBC. And in just a moment, we're going up to Fenway Park in Boston and hopeful that we'll have the same kind of good defensive action that we had yesterday. It was a terrific game, wasn't it? Meanwhile, I have a problem. No one comes around at the Grandstand with beer and hot dogs and popcorn, but I have something else to cover me this afternoon. Remember a couple of weeks ago when Baltimore and Boston were both alive, I said the two of them together couldn't beat Oakland? Well, the mail started to come in, and I'm supposed to eat crow because of what I said. And I've got myself covered, so along about the third inning of the ball game, I'm going to dig in and make you more angry if you're rooting for Boston by picking Oakland, even though they lost the first game yesterday. Seriously, though, here on Grandstand, we're going to be gathering the sports news of the day. We're going to be collecting highlights of the football games that are being played. And right now, it's almost game time up in Boston. So we'll send you back to Fenway Park for Game 2.
Every year, I see the manager complain about my motion and the hesitation pitching, the president of the league taking moving about, and then he said no bark. The National League umpire, in the spin training, I've been doing some motion over there, he never called me a bark. The only thing he making me, he called me a bark when I step in the line, he making spin training. And then he says a bark. But out of this saying, I don't have any problem. The guy, like I said, I don't have to worry about why he's going to call him bark or not. You have to go over there and doing the way I'm doing all my life. Because I think what I'm doing is natural. Been doing every pitch. And I don't think it should be a bark.
There's no time of the year like the fall, and there's no better place to enjoy it than New England with its historic Charles River and the rolling wooded countryside splashed with the yellows and golds and greens now of the fall foliage. Right now we're moving into Game 2 for the championship of the American League at Fenway Park, Boston. The Western Division champs, the Oakland A's, versus the Eastern Division champs, the Boston Red Sox. Brought to you by your Dodge and Chrysler Plymouth dealers, where you can clean up on sales. And by the Gillette Track 2 shaving system, the closest thing to a perfect shave. And also brought to you by Exxon. Fenway Park, Boston. Be jammed here with around 34,000 fans. This intimate, tiny little ballpark drew 1.7 million this year to lead the American League in attendance. Hi, everybody. I'm Kurt Gowdy, along with Tony Kubek. And this is really baseball wild, not only Boston, but New England country. That wall's 37.5 feet high, the most famous fence in baseball. The Green Monster, the Green Plague, the Friendly Fence. It has all kinds of nicknames, endearments, obscenities.
A lot of little corners in this park.
Mr. Tom Yockey has owned this ball club since 1933. Man with the dark glasses, that's Haywood Sullivan, former big league catcher who's the director of player personnel. See Mr. Yockey around the ballpark, he looks like he owns nothing. Little windbreaker and a $10 pair of pants. Works out with the youngsters around here when the team's on the road, down in the dressing room. Always has a sympathetic ear. He has a love affair with this ball club, and always has that, and with baseball. The Red Sox will have Yastrzemski in left, Fred Lynn in center, White Evans in right is one of the best outfields in baseball defensively. Petroselli's at third, Burleson's at short, Doyle's at second, Cooper's at first, Fisk catching, Vida Blue for the A's, and Reggie Cleveland, a right-hander for the Red Sox. Center field leading off will be Billy North, outstanding speed. Reggie Jackson, dangerous in this ballpark, playing right field, dangerous anywhere. Joe Rudy, the captain, red hot the last month of the season. Sal Bando's at third. Bert Campaneris, the shortstop, batting eighth. And rookie Phil Garner playing second base. Gene Tennis, the man that hurts the Red Sox more than the other opposing A's players. First base, outstanding speed again. Claudell Washington, the designated hitter.
Two of the most legendary figures in the history of baseball passed away. Casey Stengel and Larry McPhail. So we ask you now for a moment of silent prayer in the memory of these great baseball figures. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with a special color guard from the Marine Air Reserve in position, will you please join with Rene Roncourt of the Boston Conservatory of Music, accompanied by John Kiley on the organ, in the singing of a national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home
Casey Stengel, Tony Kubek used to play for him. If every certified publican account could add up the worth and money of goodwill, promotion, and publicity that Casey brought to the game of baseball, I don't believe it could be done, Tony.
No, I sure don't.
He brought night baseball, his father, to the major leagues. He was a promoter, a showman, a builder of champions with the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Yankees. And both men passed away in the last week. Let's switch to Cincinnati and Joe Garagiola.
Okay, Kurt, this is the situation.
Two-strike pitch. Tough play for Rooker. He'll not make it. Deep to left field, way back. This ball is out of here. Home run.
think it's especially disconcerting to a guy like Vida Blue when the left-handers do hit him, because it just makes him think a little bit more about it.
There's a high drive, left field, going back, looking up, goodbye. Goodbye. Talking about work cut out for him, there's a nice piece of work right there.
Vida's got to be wondering what's going on.
Pittsburgh at 2. Boston Red Sox, Oakland, 3:30 start. Deep to left center field. There's nobody going to get this one. It's extra bases. Off the wall, one hop, and Willie Sturgill has himself an easy double. Who has just been taken out. Todd has replaced him up in Boston. Gets by Johnny Bench, and down at third base goes Sturgill. One out, back to first. It's in the dugout. It's a 2-1 ball game. And down to second base goes Hebner. Hit off the handle. Stennett's going out. It drops for a base hit. Off the end of the bat, right center field. Oliver coming on fast. Can't get it. Drops for a base hit. Hebner moves in close. Bouncing ball. Tavares can't get it. It dribbles into left field. Here comes Foster. Here's the throw. Not in time. There they go. Swung on and missed. Sanguillen throws. It is not in time. Double steal.
Runners at second and third, one out. He pitches. Norman hits one into left field. Richie Zisk digging for it. He'll make the catch, but here comes Concepcion. The race is on, and it's 4-1.
See him in action in our CBS coverage. And, of course, next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, you will be watching the Formula One race from Watkins Glen, New York. Here's Gabriel going to Young. The ball is going to be batted right here on the ricochet. Here comes the big man, Carmichael, 50 yards for the touchdown, and it put Philadelphia ahead 6-3. Then they missed the extra point. Now the ball on the Washington 35. Gabriel completes a 25-yard pass to Carmichael at the 10-yard line. That set up a field goal, making it 9-3. But finally, back came the Redskins. And would you know it, it's that defensive unit again. Intercepted pass. Dennis Johnson taking the tap from teammate Brad Dusack. Returns down to the Eagles' 26-yard line. Now, Kilmer will throw the touchdown pass to Alvin Reed right here. And Washington moves ahead.
We didn't make any offensive errors today. We had no interceptions and no fumbles lost. And anytime that you don't put your defense in a hole and maintain possession of the ball, we had, I guess, 71 plays, 58 running plays today to their 44 or 42, something like that, which is the real dominance in the ball game.
But does it come down to concentration, working harder this week? Did the players maybe realize that they hadn't been performing well? You said Greasy last week. You were concerned with that he maybe work a little harder this week.
Well, it's pretty hard to say that Greasy ever works harder than he does the week before, because I've never been around a quarterback that spends more time preparing and working hard on the practice field than Greasy. So he just had a couple of bad quarters and started out with the interceptions, but he really got on track today.
Well, no, I'm still learning, and I'm happy with my performance, but I'm gonna have to practice hard next week, because one game don't tell the whole story.
The touchdown pass from Greasy, actually, and I was talking to Carl Tansett, he says you get the pass the hard way. It was one of those you had to look over the shoulder and take it in, which is not an easy thing to do. Had you been working on that, or was that just one of those things?
Well, I guess it was one of those things. I just, caught the ball and went in the end zone with it.
Mm-hmm. Also, you finally got an end around, went for considerable yardage. I know you'd like to run that way with the ball.
Well, if they, call on me to run, I'm going to do my best.
What does this do for a guy's confidence? Because I think each week you've been doing a little bit better, wouldn't you say?
Well, yes. I feel like getting a chance to play in the game is gonna make me more relaxed, and I'm gonna be able to feel relaxed when I'm out there, and hope to get a chance to get my hands on the ball to do something with it.
This is the American League Championship Radio Network. The payoff to Petrocelli, high fly ball, left field, Rudy back. He's back as far as he could go. The ball is off the light tower. A home run for Rico. And the White Sox, or rather the Red Sox, lead it now 5-3. As Petrocelli, with that patented Fenway Park swing of his, lifts one up over the big green monster. Another run to the Red Sox lead, and he gets joyous treatment when he gets back into the dugout. He disappears into a sea of Red Sox players who mob it.
Well hit to right field. Griffey is on with the single. There he goes. Here's the throw. It is not in time. And here they come. They got him picked off. There goes Griffey. He'll make it easily. Well, Griffey made him a tactical mistake. Balk. They call a balk. And there goes a run in. Ken Black tries for the balk. Poor Danny Murtaugh. trying to distract Joe Morgan. There he goes. No way Sanguilla can get him. He couldn't get him if he had a gun. He was. I believe he had hit sign if he wanted it. Base hit for Perez. Morgan is rounding third. Stingley's got a chance. The throw is not in time. 6-1. He's so quick. So that ball was hit awful hard. The ground ball through the infield right at Richie Zisk.
Lines one down the left field line. It's hard off the wall. Here comes the throw to third.
Speaking of the World Series, beginning next Saturday, it'll open in the American League city, either Boston or Oakland. If Oakland, the coverage will begin at 3:30 Eastern Time. If Boston, coverage at 12:30 Eastern Time. All World Series games will be preceded by the baseball world of Joe Garagiola on NBC Sports. #1 in live coverage of major sports events all year round.
Boston is ready. 2 strikes, ball 1. Here comes the pitch. Strike 3.
Larson's perfect game is one of 6 memorable World Series moments in a panoramic painting for the official 75 World Series program. Inside, there are exciting stories of the 75 season, plus cover photos of the 1975 All-Star teams. For your copy, send a $250 checker money order to Major League Baseball program, P.O. Box 666, San Francisco, California.
Take the man in here real good and tight. All right. Still, though, as John said this morning, we thank the man that gave us the ability. Now let's us use it.
John Nyland, nobody leave us. John Nyland, lead us. John Nyland, lead us.
Well, dear Lord, I don't know how to pray. I'm just giving thanks for the ability you've given us, these men. We just pray, Lord, that we can go on from here and keep us from our prideful selves, help us improve, search the mistakes we make. Allow us to step on the field next week to bring you glory.
What you did, you beat him in his own game. You beat him at the turnovers. Yeah. 3 for the Eagles. Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Great job! Great job! All right, man. All right. We got a lot of balls to give out. A lot of balls. That's how we won this game. A lot of balls. A lot of balls. All right. Balls, balls. Offensive line, the greatest in the world. Offensive line. All right. Mr. Toast. Mr. Toast, where are you? Where are you? Come on here. Come here. You call us dogs. Come in here, you big dog. All right. Hooray for Mr.
Okay, on defense, there was a son of a pup out there hitting like you wouldn't believe. John Bunning!
Okay. This is the happiest moment of my football career. There's a guy I've known, I've been waiting to win a ball game so bad so he could get the game ball and give it to him. His name Cap Shingle. He has leukemia, and I'm going to get the ball and sign it and have all you guys sign it. I'll take it to him. All right. It's so great.
There was a son of a this week that got our minds right. I didn't like his remark about Willie Lanier, but anyhow, Mike McCormick.
Thank you. And you know it, just to repeat what John said, brother, a win over that football team, I'll cherish this one. Thank you very much.
I remember when I was a defensive tackle, I played against who I thought was a veteran for 20 years in the league, and they said, have some respect for him. And he killed me the whole day. I found out that the veteran who was supposed to have played wasn't in there. It was a rookie that was beating me up all day.
On 2nd down and 6 for Detroit. Taylor, inside handoff, big hole. Down to the 25-yard line, short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down, a long 2.
He is a nifty back to watch. Frank used a very good verb a moment ago when he said that Alty squirted throw. That time he knifed throw.
He has been a good football player for Detroit for a lot of years. Had knee surgery a couple of years ago. Didn't do too well last year. He had 532 yards, could be considered not too well, but it just did not come up to his standards. Great competitor. 3rd down now. Ball resting just short of the 25-yard line.
It'll be 3rd down and 3. The short yardage running offense is in, but we won't count on it. Landry will either run or pass, and he goes for the 1st down, takes a hard knock from Leroy Jordan, but he gets it. He paid the price and got the 1st.
You know, Alex, you've commented on Leroy tonight. He's having a fine game and a remarkable year. He saved last week's game against St. Louis when it appeared, and we had this at the very top of the telecast, that St. Louis would win that overtime game. Saved it with an interception. And this was the area he was supposed to be through. Randy White was to be trained, prepared to be middle linebacker.
And Leroy Jordan is still there as up the middle goes Algie Taylor, getting about a yard. It'll be 2nd down. Call it 8. This program is being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds and allow our friends and local stations along the line to identify themselves.
WXYZ TV, Channel 7, Detroit.
Frank Gifford, along with Howard Cosell and Spanky, Mongo, Alex Karras, in a beautiful sports complex in Pontiac, Michigan. The Dallas Cowboys lead the Detroit Lions 6-0 with 5:24 remaining in the 1st half. Flags fly as Bussey goes down.
You know what it was, don't you, Frank? It was that staggered hut, 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 hut.
All of the KG veteran quarterbacks, when they get down into the other team's territory, they have a tendency to break that count, and it sometimes has this effect. Dallas offside.
This is a good, active football game with, I'm sure, the Detroit Lions surprising a lot of you viewers around this country. Expected to have nothing this year. They beat 2 of the weaker teams, Green Bay on 2 block kicks by Levi Johnson and a 3rd block punt. And then they beat the Atlanta Falcons, who are not off to a good start and who very much miss Claude Humphrey, I think. He'll be out the whole year. But here are the Lions pouring it to the Cowboys. And a touchdown would put them ahead.
2nd down and 4. The ball is at the 15. Taylor will lose yardage as big number 75, the 11-year veteran Jethro Pugh, is in there to make the stop. It'll force Landry back into the passing position. Hello there.
Nice to see you, Gifford.
Here he is.
I look pretty good tonight, don't I?
It'll be 3rd down now and 6. Jethro Pugh with a fine defensive play. 4:53 remaining in the half. Tony Fritsch has done it all in the scoring department. A 21-yarder, a 29-yarder. Both wide receivers now go left. Jarvis and Steigers. The tight end is Sanders. Bottom of your screen, 88. Here comes the pressure. Landry has running room but doesn't know what to do. Now he gets close to the 1st, but I don't believe he got it.
Not quite.
Hesitated just for a moment, and why not? Jethro Pugh, at 250 pounds, was in pursuit.
No question. He's materially inhibited by the memory of what happened to the knee a year ago, and it's still not that solid. The old Landry could have gone all the way on that play, but that was the reason for the hesitation.
He's very close.
I'll tell you, Frank, one thing, if I may say. Had he used the draw to Algie Taylor, I hope we can show it to you in a minute, and then Algie was all alone for the reception.
Well, you know, Howard, I talked about this earlier, and that's the fact that Greg Landry looks at his primary receiver, and he can't throw off to a secondary. Now, there's Taylor right now, who was not his primary receiver, and yet he couldn't throw it to him. He was wide open.
1st down. You heard the roar go up as we showed you the replay. Wide open was Algie Taylor. That was where Landry didn't know whether to run or throw, but he got enough. Detroit has a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 12-yard line.
We have 4 minutes and 10 seconds left in the half.
4 big 3rd downs on this drive for Detroit. Taylor inside the 10. Good blocking there. Bob Kolakowski and John Morris, the center.
That time the verb would be busted. He busted through, huh, Frank?
He does whatever he has to do. He came in tonight with nearly 3,800 yards rushing. He's accumulated that in 6 years. And not with the best of football teams. All right, second down and 6. Detroit can still make a first down. Clock ticking away. 3:25 remaining in the first half. Dallas leads 6-0. Bussey hurdling down to the 5. Getting down to the 4. The middle of that defensive line, and Charlie Waters coming up from his safety spot. Now pressure on Greg Landry.
That is tough running down there. And of course, Harvey Martin is doing a real bang-up job up there. He doesn't care who's coming into his hole. He's playing a lot of zone. Anyone that comes in his hole, he's going to hit. Let's see what happens here. Everyone's knocking him down.
All right, to play now, coming up. 80,000 screaming fans. Landy will probably give himself a run-pass option. Now he goes to Bussey, and Bussey just gets back to the line of scrimmage, and Ed Jones. Big Ed Jones was the key Cowboy on the defense.
I didn't like that call, Alex.
Well, it's just too slow to develop as far as I'm concerned, Howard. And when you have an active front four like Dallas has, I think if you try to hit something real quick up the middle or quick to the outside, it's much better. It was almost like a counter.
The fans are yelling, go. I wonder if Borzano is going to go at the fans. I would not. I'd kick, wouldn't you?
They are going to go for it. They start the clock now. Landry looked over, and his 4th down, a long 3. The ball at the 4-yard line.
What would you do here, Alex?
What I said he should have done on 3rd. Give himself a run-pass option.
Yeah. You'd go for it. You wouldn't kick the field
Remember, an
goal.
incomplete pass now is not an automatic touchback anymore in pro football, so he can't throw in the end zone. And now he takes too much time.
Game.
Write it off. Charlie Sanders caught the pass, but the whistle had long been blown. The 2-minute warning, not a delay of game. So now Rick Forzano and Greg Landry will have time to think it over at the 2-minute warning.
Stadium security. And you know, when you're a defensive ball player, and it's so frustrating when you see a guy getting paid $125,000 like Landry is getting, and once in a while, even after he throws the ball, you just like to say hello to him. You know what I mean?
A moment ago on 4th down, the Detroit Lions were going to go for the touchdown or the first down. They needed 3 yards for a first down, 4 yards for the touchdown, and now they have brought on Earl Mann.
They're doing the right thing. It's an old adage.
4 out of 5 on the year.
Put the points on the board when you can.
Even if it was 40-0, Howard?
No, in a close game like this. You know, Earl Mann is as sure as Jim Turner of the Broncos in short range.
21-yard attempt. And hustling in there was Bill Gregory. He almost got to it, but it's good. And Detroit now shortens Dallas' lead 6-3. And they have some beauties down Texas way. We're going to be watching them a short time during halftime. Also, the highlights of great action yesterday. Right now, there's 1:56 remaining in the first half. Earl Mann has put 3 points on the board, and he goes for the onside kick. As the flag goes down, I believe Detroit was offside. Real chancy team is Detroit Lions. I don't know if I'd have tried that either.
Well, that I don't disapprove of. They've played tough defense all night. That last Detroit drive, by the way, took more than 11 minutes and 17 plays.
Offsides for Detroit.
Mr. Saturday Night, who do you have? Oh, boy, I love that Charo the other Saturday.
Like
I fell
her,
in love with her. I love her.
Well,
who do you have on?
Bill Cosby, Andy Griffith, Roberta Flack, Barry Manilow, the famed Rockettes from New York City. How's that for starters, Skipper?
Great cast. I liked Alvin King. He was really funny, but a moment ago I said this is why I wouldn't do this. Dallas has 3 timeouts remaining. They have the ball on the 49-yard line of Detroit. Flags fly, 2 men moving at the same time. Should be an illegal procedure call.
You know, Ralph, You know, Frank.
How did I get to be Ralph?
Something with the Ralph Frank of Bobby Johnson's homer.
Oh, that's
Don't matter. A couple of years ago, John Ralston pulled a surprise onside kick against Oakland with the Denver team, and it worked. And he's a college-type coach. So is Forzano to a great degree. And I just like seeing it for a change. I think the better argument is made by you that it was too chancy and gave Dallas field position with sufficient time to score again.
1:50 remaining in the first half. Illegal procedure against Dallas. Second down, 15. Sawback. A lot of time. Wide open is Drew Pearson. Steps out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Close to the first down. Charlie West covering for Detroit. A Dallas first down. They kill the clock.
Did you see Lem Barney behind that play, Alex? Don't do that too often in Lem's territory. Sometimes he gambles, he's venturesome, picks it off, goes all the way.
I was going to say that. He'll play back and let you do that a couple times to him, and then bang, he's there, and he's going to go 80 yards on you. He's got great speed.
On the first down, Gene Fugit, the big wide receiver, is now in number 84. Pearson again. And this time they ruled he did not come down with the ball inbound. Drew Pearson beating Levi Johnson. 1:39. Still 3 timeouts for Dallas. Now Preston Pearson comes in along with Fugit. And Detroit counters. They put in another linebacker. Mike Hennigan comes in. Pearson goes out to the right, tangles there with Lem Barney. Out to the left is Fugit. He's tied up with Levi Johnson. Second down and 10. Ball at the 38. And somebody, I think, drew Detroit offsides. Illegal procedure, Dallas. Ralph Neely appeared to lift his hand. The 11-year All-Pro veteran out of Oklahoma at left tackle for Dallas. Once you take that 3-point set, you cannot change it.
Number 73.
I think in the bottom corner of your screen, there is Ralph Neely just rising up a little early. That hurts the team. A little mental error.
He's had mental errors before. Once he signed with 2 leagues, the AFL and the NFL.
I think that was a smart move.
Second down and 15. Back a lot of pressure, but it's the screen. And it goes out to Laidlaw. He bobbles the ball, goes out of bounds. Dallas remains in possession. Scott Laidlaw, a rookie from Stanford, a 14th round draft pick that made this Dallas Cowboy team. He made it because in 2 years, under a team that primarily used the pass, he gained some 1,300 yards on the ground as we look at the screen again. There's the ball going out of bounds. Last possession was Dallas. Now Barney, you'll see coming up, makes the pop that causes the fumble, which has no effect on the play because it goes out of bounds and Dallas retains possession. 3rd and 10, into the shotgun. Fugit left. Pearson right. This is why Landry likes it. Staubach gets a long time to look. Lays it to Laidlaw again. Laidlaw trying to get out of bounds. He does. Good coverage by Levi Johnson.
He wanted to take his head off that time, Levi did.
So that will bring up 4th down. Now, out comes Hoops, the punter. A field goal attempt would have to be 56 yards, some 56 yards. So we are not going to see that. There's 1:16 remaining on the clock.
Time to call Tom Dempsey or Bert Retchachok.
Yes, that's for sure.
The best, as you
I love
can
this
see,
guy's name, Hoops, as a punter. Isn't that great? Hoops.
Mitch Hoops out of the University of Arizona. He will angle for the corner if he can ever get the ball off the ground. It'll go into the end zone, touchback. And now, with 1:08 remaining, Detroit will take possession. And we'll return to Pontiac Stadium in just a moment. On the sidelines, Tom Landry, the only coach the Dallas Cowboys under Clint Murchison have ever had. Up until last year, they had made the playoffs for 8 consecutive years. 8-6 last year. They lost out to Washington and St. Louis. They tied for the Eastern Division of the NFC. And, of course, St. Louis had defeated Washington. They were the division champions, and the wild card went to Washington. And here's his counterpart, Rick Farzano, been in college coaching, and only 2 years ago, or rather last year, took over here at Detroit and has brought a lot of excitement. 1:01 remaining in the first half. Farzano's Lions trail 6-3. Algie Taylor over the right side, hit there by D.D. Lewis. And Detroit obviously going to let the clock continue to move. They have their 3 timeouts. They're not attempting to stop. And Howard, I'm surprised, such an explosive offensive team as Dallas and Detroit in their own way, we have not seen the scoring we've anticipated.
Well, it's been good defense. I want to talk to you about something else if we have time after this play.
2nd down and 5. Draw play, Taylor. Now Detroit gets the first down, and now they will use one of their timeouts.
Frank, when Hoop's punching into the end zone, that ball immediately becomes a dead ball. Yet you and I saw the clock run out 7 seconds before we broke for the commercial. I don't understand that.
I wish you hadn't asked me, because I don't either.
I didn't see it, so I can't answer that.
Does the 2 linemen never watch the clock?
Oh, no, we never watched the clock. I couldn't see the clock anyways. I was blind. But...
NCAA college football coming up this Saturday, and what a goodie it's going to be. Michigan and Michigan State. That series has really been something in Big Ten football. Michigan State, of course, with their great quarterback, Charlie Baggett, and their fullback, Levi Jackson. Goes all the way back to 1898. Michigan has won 42 of those games, and Michigan State has won 20. And they really get it on. That's college football at its very finest this Saturday on most of these ABC stations. You can check your local listings for the time of the telecast in your area.
2 well-coached teams. I mentioned Bo Schembechler before. He'll go down as one of the all-time great college coaches.
Frank, is it true about Tom Landry? You know, he never shows emotion, but they say he's got a padded closet in his house, and he goes in there after a game and screams for 4.5 hours. Is there any truth in that?
No, he just keeps winning. People keep rapping him. Had an incredible record since 1966, the first time the Cowboys hit the 500 mark. Made the playoffs every year but one. On first down, Landry goes out to Taylor, and Taylor bobbles the ball, and I believe Dallas has it. Yes, they do. Algie Taylor, hit by D.D. Lewis, coughs up the football, and now there is 9 seconds on the clock. The ball is placed at the 40-yard line. Let's look at it again, and here Landry is just trying to give Algie Taylor, a good broken field runner, some running room, and there is D.D. Lewis really unloading.
He's holding like Jimmy Brown used to hold it, just like a loaf of bread. Only Jimmy Brown's hand would go all the way around the ball.
Dallas might be able to get 2 plays in. The ball is at the 40. Staubach is in. His deep receiver, if he was going to pick one with the top speed, of course, is Drew Pearson. He's number 88, out of your screen. He's at the bottom of your screen. He's tangled up there with Levi Johnson. Staubach moves into the spread to give himself some time. Pearson out of bounds with 3 seconds remaining in the first half. An 18-yard pickup, and Tony Fritsch should be able to hit.
They've got the field goal shot.
Little Tony Fritsch. They found him playing soccer in Vienna. The first football game he ever saw, Alex, he actually kicked a field goal in it.
Is that right?
Yeah, they went over with the scouting crew, and he was a great soccer player. Showed him a football. He said, "What's that?"
They signed him with 6 Wiener Schnitzels.
Oh, they discovered him in the Vienna woods.
39-yard attempt. You're getting too classical, Howard. A very costly Alty Taylor fumble puts 3 more ultimately on the board for Dallas as time runs out. That's the end of the first half. Dallas leaves the field, leading the Detroit Lions 9-3. Stay tuned. Halftime highlights coming up.
Alex Karras gives us a candid look at sex and sports. I'm John Kelly. I'll be joined by Jack Legoff after the game.
Pontiac Metropolitan Stadium, and what a place it is. 80,000 people in attendance. It's halftime. The score, Dallas 9, Detroit 3. The manner of the scoring, you see the field goals by Tony Fritsch. He got 3 of them. The last one, 39 yards with just 3 seconds to go in the half. Not 29 is registered there. Errol Mann had a 21-yarder for Detroit. It's been a lively football game. It has not been spectacular offensively, but it has been a determined game defensively, and we look for more of same in the second half. Right now, I'd like to turn you over to my colleague, Frank Gifford, as he describes for you the beauty and the antics of the Apache Bells. Immediately thereafter, we'll return with our halftime highlights.
Thank you, Coach. And you talk about a bunch of #1 draft picks. These are the Apache Bells from Tyler, Texas. They have been on just about every major halftime show you have probably ever watched. Great performers as they are performing before some 80,000 people here in Pontiac, Michigan. The Apache Bells. Almost a little like the Rockettes, which will be appearing on your show come Saturday night, Howard. Great coordination in their routines.
Well, you mentioned the Rockettes. As we watch those young lovelies down there, Frank, I have never seen better training, better discipline in my life. Through all of the years, the Rockettes have become a kind of not just New York City, but national monument. I think you'll agree.
Yes. I was watching them, Howard. I do agree, though. They really are beautiful. I mean, the timing is incredible. And a tribute to, as they put it, all the little dolls. Their routine showing them as play dolls. Now they group at midfield. Beautiful coordination in their routines. They train all year for this.
Well, those are the Apache Bells, and after this short interlude of precision and beauty and dancing expertise, let's pick up with our regular halftime service, the highlights of yesterday. That's Billy White Shoes Johnson, number 84, Houston Oilers, the place, the Astrodome. Houston against Cincinnati, a nip-and-tuck battle. An intended pass from Kenny Anderson, 14 to Booby Clark, 42. You saw him get racked up by rookie 52, Brad Cousineau of the Oilers. Anderson now, second quarter action, no score. Throws to Linville Elliott, touchdown. The Bengals take a 7-0 lead. To show you how that play formed, watch this unique shot from the top of the Astrodome. Isaac Curtis, 85, swinging left, drawing defenders with him, leaving Elliott for one-on-one coverage by the Oilers. Elliott beats it, goes in for the touchdown. Thus, the Cincinnati 7-0 lead. But the Oilers are a much underrated team. Watch this. Dan Pastorini back Throwing a pass intended for 30 down Hardiman, deflected by Hardiman, picked off by Billy White Shoes Johnson. An apparent touchdown, but no, illegal. No Bengal had touched the ball. An award instead for White Shoes Johnson for being a great dancer. Moving on, Houston 10, Cincinnati 7. Midway in the third quarter, the punt goes to Billy White Shoes Johnson. And watch the young man whose shoes resemble Joe Willie Namath, but whose legs don't, go down the right sideline. 60 yards and more. Touchdown, Houston with a 17-7 lead. Then, with 6 minutes gone in the fourth quarter, the Bengals trailing 17-14. Kenny Anderson swinging to his right. 6-yard pass to old reliable, for him at least, Isaac Curtis. Cincinnati leads 21-17. But Houston was not dead yet. Late in the game, 5 minutes remaining. The Bengals leading 21-17. Houston's ball, Cincinnati's 1-yard line. Dan Pastorini stopped, hit for a 1-yard loss by 55. The aggressive Jim LeClaire. 3 plays later, 4th and goal to go. Fred Willis gets the handoff. Look at that. Stopped just short of the goal line. Tried to sidle it in and failed. And so, a great goal line stand. On the next play, Houston got a safety, but the Bengals held on to win 21-19. That's Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. And that punt was by Spike Jones, the number 21, the exceptional kick runner Larry Jones of the Washington Redskins. What a hit by 24, Artemis Parker. That characterized this game, that kind of hit. Then midway in the first quarter, the Redskins leading 3-0. Roman Gabriel throws a pass. Deflected to 17, Harold Carmichael. Watch Daddy Long Legs go downfield. Kenny Houston is 27 after him. He doesn't get to him. Stone tries to get him, doesn't. And Carmichael goes in for the touchdown. The extra point failed. The Eagles led 6-3. This is number 85 on a reverse. Number 85 is Charlie Smith. Watch him go. This sets up a later play in the game, a game turner. Smith on this play went 36 yards. It was a double reverse. And then, early in the fourth quarter, Washington leading 10-9. Roman Gabriel to the man you just saw, Charlie Smith, touchdown. And from that point, Philadelphia went on to win it 26-10. You want pretty cheerleaders? Go to Bush Memorial Stadium. You want joy? Watch the Cardinals against the Giants. Watch that man, Mr. Versatility, Terry Metcalf. This play so indicative of his talents, eluding 2 would-be tacklers, finding the open hole, and then bursting through it for a 15-yard gain. This time, he goes right up the middle for a touchdown. What a day he had. That touchdown put the Cardinals ahead 17-0. You see the statistics for Metcalf on the day, better than 100 yards. Now still in this second quarter, the first half, they chewed the Giants up. Jim Hart to Early Thomas. 2 defenders couldn't stop him. Spectacular play. 48-yard gain. And after that, Jim Otis, the old Buckeye from Ohio State, bursting through. He had a better than 100-yard gain against the porous Giant defense. St. Louis went on to win it 26-14.
Do you have a pencil and paper handy? Jot down U.S. Olympic Committee, Box W, Cathedral Station, Boston, Mass. 02118. If you send $5 to this address, you'll receive one of the new 1976 Olympic Winter Games cloth emblems for your jacket or cap. And you'll be helping the U.S. team to be at the Winter Games in Austria this coming February. Once again, to secure the patch, mail $5, U.S. Olympic Committee, Box W, Cathedral Station, Boston, Massachusetts, 02118. Your contribution is tax deductible. The patch is the committee's way of saying thank you to each contributor. Be sure to watch ABC's exclusive coverage from Innsbruck beginning on Tuesday, February 3rd.
That's number 12, Joe Ferguson, Buffalo Bills, about to hand off to number 34, Jim Braxton. You're watching him in slow motion. The unheralded one of the Bills. Why? Because he's the running mate of the incomparable O.J. Simpson. Here you see him powering up the middle for a first down. And you see those figures. Over 100 yards gained on the day. 3 touchdowns scored against a Denver team not to be sneered at. Recognize those shoes, those legs? The Juice, number 32. What a day he had. Another 138 yards gained. Took a shovel pass from Ferguson. Quickly through the hole, the acceleration. The change of pace so swift the tacklers can't get to him. Buffalo crushed Denver 38-14. Pretty girls aren't just at Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. You'll find them at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. And yesterday you could find number 7, Burt Jones, throwing to number 38, a gentleman named Bill Olds from Nebraska. Touchdown, 28 yards, put the Colts ahead 7-0. The Rams sluggish in the early going this year. But the Rams with a powerhouse team, and in the fourth quarter connecting. Jamie Harris throwing to the former Lion, Ron Jesse, touchdown. And so the Rams went on to win it 24-13. That's Dick Nolan, head coach, San Francisco 49ers place, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, against the Chiefs. Norm Snead, veteran quarterback, back to pass, finding the one from Bucknell, number 84, Tom Mitchell, tight end, and oh, what a tackle. But Mitchell was a key factor in this game yesterday. Watch him now in isolation, running his pattern straight down, then cutting over to the middle, in the open. The timing perfect. Snead hits him. This one for a touchdown, and San Francisco went on to trounce KC 20-3. Atlanta Stadium. The Saints against the Falcons, both winless. But on this day, there's Bartkowski hitting Kenny Burrow, 15-yard gain. The ball goes 12 yards forward. Picked up by Jim Mitchell, 86. Another of the many brilliant tight ends in the NFL. He roars 50 yards, if roars is the verb, for a touchdown, and Atlanta went on to win the ball game 14-7 over the Saints, still questing for their first victory. In Japan, they know about baseball, but the emperor wanted to know about football. So he went to Shea Stadium yesterday and had a ball, watching the original Willie White Shoes. Joe Willie Namath throw for 4 touchdowns. That one to 83, Jerry Barker. And this one to 83, Jerry Barker. And then it was time to turn to the antelope. Number 88, Richard Castor. That one, a touchdown. And then watch the next one, a beauty. Beat just inside the end zone. Namath rifling the ball. The antelope up there for it. Touchdown. What a day for Namath. What a day for the Jets. 36-7 over the Patriots.
And here in Pontiac, Dallas at halftime leads Detroit 9-3. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Detroit Lions, is being brought to you by Gillette, makers of the Gillette Track 2, a two-bladed shaving system, the closest thing to a perfect shave. And by Goodyear, the makers of the Polysteel radial tire. It keeps his feet even in the rain. We'll be ready for the second half kickoff between the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions after this word from our local stations. Tony Fritsch will kick off. The Dallas Cowboys with 3 field goals to Detroit's 1. They lead 9-3. The second half underway. It'll be Leonard Thompson from 2 yards deep. He bobbles the ball. It'll be a touchback. Leonard Thompson, with all of that 9.7 speed, gets no chance to use it. He does not hold on. So Detroit will take possession for the first time here in the second half. A good, hard-hitting game as we look at the statistics. Greg Landry under a lot of pressure. Staubach, a little bit less pressure.
Good game marred only by that late field goal for Dallas, in effect a giveaway by Detroit with 3 seconds left in the first half.
Offensive lineup the same. It's Landry, Algie Taylor, number 42. Dexter Bussey, a 1 set back, number 24. Taylor is met hard by big number 75, Jethro Pugh. Loss of about a foot. Jethro Pugh out of Elizabeth City, New Jersey College.
How'd the Giants miss him?
They would have liked to have had him for many years. Nobody even knew who Jethro Pugh was when he came up. That's been the secret of Dallas. They always come up with somebody that you don't expect. They turn into big stars. Landry, and now he goes down. Running around there very quickly, number 79, Harvey Martin, and Bill Gregory, 77, penetrating from tackle. 79, Harvey Martin, Bill Gregory, 77, Jethro Pugh, 75, Ed Jones, 72. That's the front four for the Cowboys. They're good. 4th sack tonight for Landry. It'll be 3rd down and 19. And now, Alex, is when you really see those down linemen turn it loose. They know they don't have to worry about the run. Landry tries to sneak, runs into D.D. Lewis, head on.
He collapsed him like an accordion, for crying out loud, Howard.
I am sorry.
4th down, and Mitch Oops will come out, or rather Herman Weaver comes out.
Yeah.
As we look at Tony Fritsch, he doesn't see a whole lot of action. He keeps warm by moving along the sidelines.
He's got 9 points, though. He's a big shot right now.
Forgive me, Giffer. I just coughed into the Giffer's face, and he's the one who's been fighting the flu all day.
Single safety. There he is, Golden Richards. He's dangerous. Weaver's had a big foot in the first half and gets off another beauty. Look at Richards all the way back to his 35. Trips over the rookie Henderson.
That's my boy Henderson. He took a handoff last week on a kickoff situation from Roland Woolsey and ran 96 yards for a touchdown. There's Roger the Dodger.
And here's Charles Young, second-year man out of North Carolina State, and Robert Newhouse. Newhouse out of the University of Houston, taking up a lot of slack from Calvin Hill. Golden Richards, one wide receiver. Drew Pearson, and he can really fly. And the big tight end, the All-American from Michigan State, Billy Joe Dupree. Dallas, again, good field position. They move from their 37. Flags go as Newhouse goes down at the 35. It'll be a loss of 2. But a flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Roger Staubach listening to the call. Offsides against Dallas. Of course, Dallas could have had a little better field position had it not been for your favorite rookie, Howard.
Yep, let's have another look at this.
He just backed right into it.
Henderson threw a beautiful block, half tackle, and there was Golden Richards. That's NFL football at its very best, folks. Ed Sable of NFL Films would put that play into a future laugh movie.
You know, even Golden Richards looked good on that play, Frank. He's such a good-looking guy. He can do anything.
On second down, loss of about a half a yard by Newhouse. Staubach with a deep drop. And a flag goes. We think we'll have a holding call against Dallas. Staubach gets 5 yards. Laslovic made the stop, but a flag is down, and Detroit is indicating it's going to go against Dallas.
Yep, you called it right.
This one they will not decline.
Against the Cowboys.
There they are. Leroy Jordan, 13 years in the league, number 55. Great All-American, Alabama.
And that's Mr. Gregory from Wisconsin.
Leroy Jordan's quite an individual, too. We zoom in now on Gregory. Very active in Special Olympics, helping retarded children all over Texas and his hometown, Birmingham. And
I think the penalty, Frank, was on Burton Lawless, who's a new one.
He's a rookie from Florida. First high offensive line draft choice since 1970, when the Cowboys picked a young man from Vanderbilt named Asher, who's now a starter with the Chicago Bears.
Second down and 20. The ball is at the 26. Shotgun formation for Dallas. Charlie Weaver on the blitz. Charlie Weaver. The little one, as we spoke of him in the first half. 5-year veteran now, former 2-time All-American at USC.
I'll tell you, if a team reflects its coach, this Detroit team reflects its coach, really. Because Farzano is a wildly enthusiastic man, and his men are playing with a kind of abandon tonight.
Loss of 4, and that's the first time we have seen Staubach go down tonight. Here's the man that pulled it off. Ball is now back to the 24-yard line. Scott Laidlaw is in there with Preston Pearson. They represent the shotgun attack. Whole bunch of problems. Laidlaw, the rookie from Stanford, picks up a Staubach bobble, gets out to the 34. A gain of 9. The Cowboys will have to turn it over.
Those problems almost enable Laidlaw to break a really big one.
I talked to Tom Landry about the shotgun, and he said, I like to use it in sure pass situation. It gives my quarterback a chance to be back there, read the defenses more quickly, and it also gives me an opportunity to get more receivers into the pattern.
Of course, the first time I ever saw it was in 1960, and the guy behind that shotgun was Billy Kilmer, and he ran overs, passed overs, and dribbled overs for 40 points. We lost 40-0. We didn't know how to control it at all.
That was a quick look at Lim Barney as Mitch Hoops is going to get one block. Levi Johnson, who blocked 3 against Green Bay in the opening game for Detroit, does it again. 10 men on the line of scrimmage, and Levi Johnson does it again.
Well, Howard, that's what I was talking about. Levi Johnson can get beat long, but I'll tell you one thing. He's a hustler and a competitor, and that guy goes in and gives his body up. He's a great ball player defensively.
You know, there's no way he should be able to do that.
No, except that he does it
consistently.
He does not come from all the way outside.
Well, let's say if Landry can move them in now. Less than 30 yards to go for the score.
Ball at the 29-yard line. First real break of the night for Detroit. Here comes a reverse.
Oh, they got blockers out there.
John Staggers. Staggers all the way down to the 16-yard line on the reverse. Cliff Harris saved it for Dallas.
Cliff Harris is mad. He's claiming a personal foul against him. And there's a Dallas athlete on the ground as you look at this reverse again. John Staggers, another of the swift ones from the University of Missouri that Dan Devine used to love so much. You know about Mel Gray with the Cardinals.
That is Cliff Harris down on the field. He was the one that was hit from behind. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Levi.
He's saying Alex, his father has never seen him play?
His dad is down here. He's never seen him play before. And of course, he's saying hi to his mama. But he's a very happy guy, and he's a great guy. I met him Saturday, and we wanted to make sure to say hello to both of his parents.
He was the one that blocked the punt that gave Detroit good field position. They have a 1st and 10. They're at the 16-yard line of Dallas. They trail 9-3. Aldi Taylor, hole up the middle. Hit there by Ed Jones, but not until he gains 5 yards.
Well, Greg Landry surely called the right play on that reverse to Staggers. We didn't get a replay. Time didn't permit it on Cliff Harris in that play when he complained vociferously that he had been tripped or hit from behind, and then suddenly Cliff went down after complaining, but he's okay.
The game is 4, 2nd down and 6. The ball at the 11. Aldi Taylor again. Taylor with that good speed, getting to the outside, close to the first down, but he does not get it. Dave Edwards, the 13-year veteran, takes Taylor out of bounds.
You know who grabbed me at halftime while the highlights were playing, Alex? Your old buddy, the great middle linebacker of the past and former Detroit coach, as you look at Rick Farzano, Joe Schmidt. And watching Landry engineer this drive, have to remember that when Russ Thomas, the GM, drafted Landry at the behest of Russ Brettschneider, their personnel man, Schmidt said, I don't like that kid. He'll never make it. I'm quitting. Finish of story in a moment, Frank.
Tough call for Landry. 3rd and 2. Dallas is tough to run against. I don't believe that Bussey got the first down.
Just to finish the story, Frank, Schmidt was halfway home in his car when he suddenly realized what he had done. He made a U-turn, came back, and he said, Russ, I was wrong. That kid can make it. I want to coach. So he stayed as the coach of the Lions.
And a great football player for so many years. Bussey just back to the line of scrimmage. It's 4th down, and again, I would have to say that Landry should give himself some kind of a run-pass option because Dallas, they pinched down all those linemen, closing each gap. They're really hard to run against. Goes to the air, wide open, Bussey. Detroit ties it up. And look at the enthusiasm of this ball club.
Oh, yeah, they're hopped up tonight, Frank. There's no question about it.
And this crowd of 80,000 people in this remarkable stadium that we've talked about so much tonight.
I don't know. You just can't figure out football players anymore. Fresano had those guys practice in 3.5 hours. They were really disgruntled early in the season. I thought they wouldn't have half a year that they're having, but they came back and they're really enthusiastic and they're up for this game.
Levi Johnson blocked a punt. Detroit went in 5 plays, 29 yards, but Johnson should get the credit. Coming up with another blocked punt. Earl Mann puts Detroit in front of Dallas. The Detroit Lions lead the Dallas Cowboys 10-9 in the 3rd quarter, and we'll return.
and I don't smoke, but I still enjoy tobacco, smokeless tobacco, like Skoal here. Just a pinch between my cheek and gum, and I get full tobacco pleasure. And since I don't light up, I can use it doing almost anything. So go smokeless with Skoal, Copenhagen, and Happy Days Men. The tobaccos you don't have to smoke to enjoy.
It was Syria and the Palestinians who remained Israel's most adamant antagonists. Both were covertly involved in a new threat to peace in the Middle East, the civil conflict in Lebanon, once the least belligerent nation in the area. Bill McLaughlin tells that story.
This was the country that liked to call itself the Switzerland of the Middle East. But in 1975, Lebanon's freewheeling economy was shattered as a neighborhood quarrel swiftly escalated into full-scale civil war between Christians and Muslims. The downtown commercial district was an early casualty. The political lines of the fight were soon clear. The Christians, some 40% of the nation, controlled the economy, the army, and government. They wanted no part of the Middle East conflict and resented the presence in Lebanon of thousands of heavily armed Palestinian guerrillas. The Muslims decided it was time they controlled Lebanon, and time Lebanon started behaving like an Arab state. Hundreds of Palestinian guerrillas joined the Muslim ranks in the fight against the outnumbered but better led and organized Christians. All-out battles were rare. More often, it was a duel of snipers. The Civil War even hit the exclusive seaside hotel area, once packed with thousands of tourists. If the fighting continues, Syria and Israel will be sorely tempted to intervene. If they do, Lebanon may turn into the battleground of the 5th Arab-Israeli War.